Are the Nike Pegasus Premiums worth the hype? Hello everybody, welcome to another episode of Man Takes Shoes Out of Box, the episode where you get to sit there and watch me take a pair of shoes out of a box and tell you what I think of them. This is one of the most exciting new products from Nike to come out in some time. The first colorway of the sneaker released at the end of January and pretty much sold out instantaneously online everywhere and has gone on to resell for money. This particular colorway is the follow-up, it's the sequel. It's a little bit easier to get a hold of, although on the Nike website you can't get the bigger sizes, but there might be some running shops that still have decent size runs available right now. Price was £190, something in the region of $200. And the reason why these have been hype is for a few different reasons. One, they're pretty damn good looking. Two, they feature some pretty exciting new technology upgrades and exciting innovation. And three, they're part of one of the most historical running lineages in running shoe history in the Nike Pegasus genealogy. Firstly, we'll go through the sneakers makeup, explain a little bit of the tech, and then I've actually gone through the trouble to take these out on a decent run to give you guys a little bit of an insight as to how they perform. And at the end of the episode, I will let you know whether or not I think these are worth the hype. Right, so first of all, the packaging. You've got the regular old orange Nike sportswear box. My particular box came with some free damage, thanks to the company that I bought it from having not shipped it double boxed, but rather in a bag. Now the box itself is pretty boring, it's pretty underwhelming, and it's definitely lacking that premium feel about it, which I guess we were expecting given the name of the shoe. Now I know the packaging doesn't really matter, but I feel like for the price that you've paid and for the image that this sneaker is supposed to be giving off, they could have gone a little bit further with giving us a slightly better box. So the aesthetic of the shoe. In terms of the aesthetic of the sneaker, I do think it is a really good looking shoe. It gives me a little bit of Air Max 97 energy if that model was upgraded and updated and brought into the 2025 era. The full length air zoom units is really eye-catching. It's obviously part and parcel of Nike's whole DNA, and the fact that they've included it with some other technology upgrades definitely gives this sneaker a bit of pop. The shoe also features some really nice reflective details, and it also has a nice contrast silver swoosh and some other silver detailing throughout the sneaker. It's a good looking silhouette with some nice pops of contrast that definitely have these looking really nice on foot. In terms of the materials on the upper, they do give off a pretty synthetic vibe about them. They do have a generally good quality feel about them. You've got a few different things going on. Around the bottom of the shoe, you've got this sort of base layer mesh synthetic ribbing with a little bit of a soft feel to it that has a little bit of rigidity. And then you've got this hot melt that sort of wraps around and joins the lower mesh to the knitted upper, and this material kind of conceals the joins between the two fabrics but also adds a little bit of a reflective layer action about it as well. And then you come into the fly knits, or the engineered mesh upper, which in the toe box region features a really open plan style for maximum breathability. And then along the tongue, you've got a different synthetic material which almost has the guise of a waffle about it. And you've also got some more of the rubberized type of material right around the eyelets, which also double as a really nice lockdown feature when you tie up the laces to help keep your feet stable when they're inside these things. Nice bit of padding around the ankle collar. You've got some Nike Pegasus detailing, which is also in a reflective type fabric on the tongue. You've got some little coordinate actions going down the side of the eye stage. You've got air on the medial side of the left shoe, and then you've got zoom on the medial side of the right shoe. Little tag going down the back with the Pegasus logo on it. So in terms of the technology in the midsole, this is pretty much where most of the action is going down on this shoe. You've got a triple stack in terms of what's going on here. The stack height is around 45 millimeters, and these come with a 10 millimeter drop. And you've got three different stories of support with varying levels of tumescence. The first layer, closest to your feet, you have the Zoom X foam, and this stuff is really spongy. It is really squishy. The bottom foam layer is the Nike React X foam, and this is a lot harder, a lot more rubbery, and a lot more responsive. And then sandwiched in between these two spongy buns, you've got the full length Zoom bag. This is the first time I think they've done the curved bag action full length, and this has essentially taken the shape and taken the function of the carbon plates that would otherwise be in the footbed to help give you maximum response. And between these three layers, you have got unbelievable cushioning, unbelievable softness, and a really nice amount of energy return, as well as a nice amount of rebound coming off the ground for running. So these things fit true to size. They are really narrow in the midfoot. So if you do have a wider foot, or if you like to have a little bit of extra wiggle room in the toe box, you'd probably want to consider going a half size up. But for me, I went true to size and I found that they fit really nicely. The cushioning in this triple stack is crazy. They've also got an Ortholite insole. So for just walking around and wearing casually, these are really, really nice. But this particular sneaker is being marketed by Nike as a premium running shoe, something to be considered in among their already successfully existent Pegasus line, as well as maybe a bridge to some of their more high-end performance running sneakers like the Alpha Fly series. And so these things should be able to hold up under a good run. So that's what I decided to do with these. I took these out for a 9K run, and I guess one thing to remember is that my running is probably better described as a wallop, and so I actually found these to be really nice to run in, just going at a regular casual pace. Compared to the Evo SLs that I've been running in, these are way heavier. These come in at something like 300 grams, whereas the Pegasus are coming in close at 400 grams, so they definitely feel a lot heavier and a lot chunkier on feet. In terms of the responsiveness, it is pretty good. It does feel like you get a decent amount of energy return, but because there's so much cushioning in the heel, and because I sometimes am a little bit of a heel striker, these do feel like they are lacking a little bit of stability around the heel. Because they're so squishy in the back, turning corners or changing direction quickly has me thinking that you want a little bit more firmness in the heel, and these are just way too soft in my opinion. They also aren't quite as responsive as the other running shoe I've been running in a lot recently, which are the Asics Superblast. These are lighter, definitely way more responsive, and so if given the choice between the Pegasus Premium and the Asics Superblast 2, bro, the Asics all day for actual running. In terms of the outsole, these have pretty much one rubber unit with some lugs on the front, which is sort of inspired by the whole waffle genealogy. You've also got a decoupled rubber pod down the bottom that follows the same type of traction pattern, and then you've just got a little bit of the exposed foam in the mid area. And then this little line down here, this actually represents the bottom of the pod, which could potentially represent a little bit of a hazard in terms of punctures picked up on the streets or maybe off terrain. So that could be something worth considering as well if you're thinking about maybe wearing this shoe out and about. That exposed air unit at the bottom could be susceptible to puncture. The mesh material around the toe being open does give these a really nice ventilation aspect to it, but obviously if it's wet outside, that's going to mean instantaneously wet socks. I'm not sure if there's a winterized version around the corner. There probably will be, but these would definitely suit running in dry, hot conditions without really going too hard or too fast. So are these worth the hype? Ultimately, no, I don't think so. Not for the money. £190 is a lot of money to pay for a running shoe, and I feel like you can get better value for money out of a shoe like the Evo SL, and I feel like you can get a better performance out of a shoe that's only slightly more expensive in the Superblast 2. So are these worth the hype for running? No, I don't think so. Are they worth the hype in terms of not running, just using for walking or traveling or just having a comfortable daily driver that has some really good looks about it and is really cushy to wear? Yeah, from that perspective, I think they are worth the hype. So ironically enough, the hype on these is justified for this premium running shoe as long as you're doing anything in them other than running. Cool aesthetic. There's two really nice colorways out there so far. This is obviously going to be one of their keynote products moving forwards. And so I think overall it's a nice sneaker to have in the collection just for everyday casual wear. But any type of like serious running, I don't think so. For casual running, yeah, type of running that I'm doing, these are absolutely fine. But if you were considering getting a pair of these over some of the other Nike Pegasus or some of the other Nike running shoes, or something like an Evo SL or a Super Blast Asics, nah, definitely not. And there we go, those are my thoughts. All in all, I feel like it's a dope shoe, but they're just a little bit overpriced. If these had come in at a slightly cheaper price point, maybe around 140 or 150 pounds, like 160, 170 bucks, I feel like they would be well worth it. But at 190, I feel like they're probably a little bit overpriced for what they are ultimately. So yeah, those are my thoughts. I'm still enjoying seeing what Nike are doing, bringing some new exciting products to the forefront. They've desperately been falling behind in the running department over the past few years, which have allowed these other brands to catch up and arguably overtake them in the running race. But yeah, I think with these types of products, they're definitely signaling some intent that they want to get back to doing what we all know they do best, which is make good running shoes. So yeah, thank you guys very much for taking the time to watch the review. Hope you enjoyed it. Drop a like before you bounce, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care for now, and peace.